up, everyone? Welcome to the Casually Fit podcast. My name is Rob. Thank you for stopping by today. Hopefully, everybody had a good Christmas. Maybe you got a sled for Christmas. You went out there and started sledding. I want to go sledding a little bit. I'm going up to Mammoth here in a few weeks. So I'm excited about that kind of sledding, snowboarding. If I find a sled, I'll be sledding for sure. But yeah, hopefully everybody had a good holiday. And now we got New Year's coming up, and yeah, the 2020 is almost done, and then on to 2021. Hopefully a good year, but it is what you make of it, right? Now, today's episode is going to be different, all right? It's going to be something that I've been wanting to do ever since I started this podcast, right? But, your boy's busy, all right? But, I'm on the 18th or 19th episode, and I haven't done this, which is what I've planned out to do before I started the podcast. But basically, before I get into it, with this podcast, I just want people to come here, get some good information, on nutrition, on fitness, on your mental game, maybe get a little bit of inspiration here. And I also want to showcase some people as well. I want to show people, hey, this is what people are out there doing right now. People who are in the struggle, they're not at the very beginning, and they're not at the end, but they're in the middle. They're in the struggle. They're just past losing a bunch of weight, and they're trying to kind of figure out how they can keep on losing weight and keep on reaching their goal, or they just reached their goal, and now comes one of the biggest struggles, after losing the weight is keeping it off and maintaining that weight. So, I want to shout out those people that I find, and I also want to shout out the people who are on the very other end of the spectrum, the freaks out there, the people who just get after it, who can just, wake up at 4 a.m., run 10 miles, do 5 sets of squats at 280 or something like that. Just freaks out there who are just killing it. And there's plenty of freaks out there, and there's plenty of people struggling out there. So I just want to make this podcast somewhere where you can come in here, and so it's a lot of good vibes, right? You get a lot of good information, and you can also see people who are doing it, people who are in the midst of it, and people who have been doing it for a while, and we get to all see the results from them focusing on their body and what they can do, and just doing some wild stuff. So this podcast now is going to be broken up into segments. Okay. The first segment is going to be kind of like a shout out. This is where I'm going to cruise the internet, look online, and try to find people who are, again, in the midst of the struggle right now. And I found a good one for today, which I'll get into in a second, but basically I want to shout somebody out. I'm working on the name. I want to name this type of segment or this type of person. I was thinking of like fit fighter, but that kind of sounds, they're fighting against fitness, or that sounds a little bit too weird to me. An ST ruggler, I do like that. That just kind of hits off the ear a little bit. So an ST ruggler, a struggler, I might call it that. But yeah, that's basically going to be the first segment to start out the podcast. Just going to highlight somebody, show you, give you their Instagram information so you can follow them if you want. You can message them, whatever it is. And then I could just highlight, because there's a lot of people out there who are, again, on this weight loss transformation. Most people are putting it online, and there's a lot of people out there who are just grinding, just getting after it. And, they've lost over 100 pounds. And, I would say not too many people know about it. And I think the people that definitely need to know about it are the ones who are struggling to lose 10 pounds or struggling to lose 100, 200 pounds. So I want to bring those to the forefront, talk about them. So that's going to be the first segment. Next segment is I'm just going to give you a quick tip on like nutrition. I'm just going to give you a little bit of insight, just something that you can think about, something that you can take home with yourself. I'm going to talk about nutrition. In future podcasts, not today's podcast, I want to just go over a quote real quick. I might take the quote out. I'm not sure. But something, a little bit of inspiration in there right after nutrition. And then I want to jump into I want to make sure I got this right. Then I want to jump into a fitness tip, just something, that you can take with you in the gym. Today's going to be talking about breathing, something like that. And then after that is going to, sounds like a lot of segments, but they'll all each be like 15 minutes or something like that. Then I want to highlight the freaks out there, the fitness freaks out there. So, and that segment is going to be called the Fit Freaks, right? That's going to be the Fit Freaks segment. Can't talk today. And then lastly, just a woosah. All right, I'm going to call it woosah, where it's just, we're just going to talk about the mind, because a lot of this, especially no matter where you are on the spectrum, the mind is something that plays a huge role in what keeps you in the fight to keep on losing weight, and what helps you get to the highest level of things. So I'm going to, I can't leave out the mind. We can talk about what you're putting into your body. We can talk about how to move your body, but we also need to talk about your mind and how you can kind of navigate everything. I'm not going to do that in today's episode. Just going to highlight somebody, talk about nutrition, give you a quick fitness tip, and then end it off with the Fit Freak of the week. All right. But yeah, so I'm excited about that. And let's get into it. Right. So the first thing, now, if you're just listening to this on Stitcher or iTunes or Spotify or whatever, you're not going to be able to see this. So I'll make sure not to spend too much time on video portion, but if you're watching the video, obviously I'm going to put it up on the screen somehow. But yeah, so the shout out for the week is a person with the handle Watch Kitty Shrink. Okay, so if you're listening to this, right? If you're listening to this, just go on Instagram and look up Watch Kitty Shrink. Okay, now this lovely lady right now, she has lost 145 pounds. That is a lot of weight. Okay, 145 pounds, and she's still going. Right, her heaviest weight, it looks like, is 285 pounds. That's when she was at her heaviest, and she now weighs 140 pounds. That's wild. This is why I want to have this segment in this podcast, is to show you. Look at that. That's huge. Her handle's great too. Watch Kitty Shrink. She's shrinking. It's great. Now, I looked on her Instagram, and she has a lot of insightful and kind of like inspirational posts out there. She's showing people that she lost the weight, and she's talking about the mental battles of losing the weight. She talks about how she lost the weight and then she gained some of it back, and she had to get rid of that weight again. So there's this constant struggle that goes on. That's, when you're somebody at the very beginning stages of all this, it's kind of hard to even just think of, hey, well, I am going to lose weight, and then I'm going to gain weight again, and then I got to lose it again. It's kind of hard to think in that way. You're just focused on losing the current weight right now. But if you follow somebody like her, you listen or you read what she's saying or whatever, then you'll find out that there's multiple stages to this journey, and I think that can help you get through the journey. You can get through the weight loss much easier when you know what's coming ahead, right? It's like a navigation system, right? It's better to have a GPS system when you're cruising around the mountains. You want to see the turns that are coming up, right? So you're not hitting the corner at 80 just to hit a hairpin corner at the next turn, and then you just fly off the road, right? So you don't want to do that. So that's why Watch Kitty Shrink. Again, she looks like great, nice lady. And I want to show you this for ones who are watching just real quick. I want to show you, she has a breakdown. Here it is. Okay. Yeah, so basically she started in 2016 when she weighed 285 pounds. And then in June of 2020, she weighed 172. Okay, and if you're watching this, you can see the breakdown, 3 stages. she went, okay, so yeah, she went 285 and then 145 in 2018, 2 years later. And then 2 years after that, she just went up, uh, like 20 pounds. And I believe now she's currently moving back down. So again, there's this up and down battle when it comes to weight loss, right? You have that first initial kind of like euphoric kind of state. You have this, if you can get your mind completely dialed in on it, you have this dedicated, focused mind on, I'm going to lose the weight. And then you lose the weight, and then you got to figure out how to live with that weight off and how to live without that huge goal of like, I want to lose, 70 pounds. And then you spend a whole entire year of losing 70 pounds. And then you lose the 70 pounds. And then you got to figure out, okay, well, how do I work out and eat if I'm not trying to lose 70 pounds? What if I just want to maintain this weight? Or what if I want to go down a little bit more? And it gets kind of weird from there. And our bodies are just kind of set up to, just crave and indulge. So some people, they go, hey, I lost the 70 pounds. So, hey, I can have like, a cake tonight and maybe tomorrow night and maybe the next night after that. Then all of a sudden you gain the weight back. And then your mental side of things kind of goes awry from there as well. So there's that whole entire process, and you can see this process kind of go on, and you can get some good insight from somebody like this lady from Kentucky, Watch Kitty Shrink, because she talks about it. Let's see. Like she says right here, regain has been weird for me to talk about. I had to reconcile still being grateful for how much weight is still off with accepting that it's okay to not be okay with where I am. So there it is. She's happy that she's still down a lot of weight and that she feels good. Okay. So this lady, go give her a follow. She, again, seems like a nice lady. She gives you a bunch of different points of views as far as losing weight, nutrition, it seems like. And yeah, she's doing it. All right. So go tell her, congratulations, or ask her some questions if you have any. I'm sure, again, I'm not going to shout anybody out that's not looking to be shouted out, right? If you're on social media posting, countless transformation pictures and talking about weight loss and all this stuff, I'm going to assume that you want people to follow you, right? It's a safe assumption. Say you want people to follow you. So go talk to her, see what's up. And yeah, so that's the shout out of the week, okay? And this week, just so you know, as usual, everything's going to be a little rocky this week with me trying to figure out this whole entire thing. So the segues are not going to be the best. The transitions aren't going to be great. But what I wanted to talk about next is the nutrition. I'm getting hot. Hold on. Watch out. Watch out. Getting hot. Got to get some coffee. But the next thing I want to talk about today is the nutrition, right? And I thought it should we should aptly start with one of the biggest things that just screws us over so much for so many different reasons, and that is sugar. Sugar is, it's sinister. I made a video called the Sinister Effects of Sugar. It's sinister because it tastes so good, right? It's delicious. It hacks into our system and says, "Hey, this is great. We love this." All right, and it's not good. It's not good for us at all. And I just want to bring that to light again. If you're, they found that just taking out soft drinks. So if you are somebody who's overweight, or any weight really, this counts for everybody. If you're just somebody out there who drinks a lot of Coke or Pepsi or Mountain Dew, you go to the fast food places and you always get a drink. And you go to the grocery store, you pick up a 12-pack of Dr. Pepper or something like that. They found that just cutting that out will make a huge difference. That's where people are getting a lot of their added sugars that they don't need, right? Because sugar is kind of found all over the place, right? We have regular sugar that's in fruits, and we have sugar that's also in grains. We have refined sugar. We have sugar all over the place. We have simple sugar. We have again complex sugar, and it's found all over the place. And I think people just need to be more aware of it. All right, because it's it's just not the best for us. Right now, here's the thing that I wanted to talk about though is that sugar we can't really, because it's found all over the place, and humans have had sugar as we've evolved, as we've lived on this earth. You can't look at sugar completely as the enemy and the devil, right? You can't think of it as completely evil. You still need to get some fruits in your life. And I think that's some place where you can kind of find a middle ground for people because, again, sugar is very addictive, right? Sugar is very addictive, and a lot of people have it, intertwined in a lot of their food. So a lot of people are addicted to it. A lot of the food that they regularly eat has sugar in it. So to say to that person, hey, you need to cut out sugar completely, it's very difficult for them to do, right? So I think the middle ground is kind of being like, hey, yes, you do need to, stop eating fast food. You need to get away from soft drinks. But to still get like a little bit of sugar into your system, you need to turn to fruits, right? You need to turn to natural sugars and not focus so much on the added sugars or the refined sugars. Because what happens is, natural sugars, it hacks into our system a little bit. It gets into our system pretty good, and it turns into glucose, and we use it for energy, right? And that's good. But it goes through a regular process. Now, refined sugar, that complex sugar, here's where it kind of hacks in. This is like an accelerated version of sugar, to where if you have regular sugar from fruits, right, and if you're eating it in moderation, our bodies can handle that, right? It's going to release some insulin in response to that, and there's going to be enough insulin to regulate your blood sugar levels, and it's not going to throw your body out of whack. So, and that's with regular simple sugar, again, in moderation. But if you start eating these refined carbs, which turns into sugar, your body breaks it down into sugar. If you start eating these things, you start eating these refined carbs and complex sugars, what happens is that actually gets into our system more. It gets into our system faster, and it overloads our system. And that's where we have an issue, right? That's where we have a huge issue is when our system gets overloaded and our insulin, we're not able to regulate with our insulin anymore. And that's what causes many different problems within our bodies. So I just want to just bring that to light. Like, hey, look, if you're trying to lose weight, or if you're somebody who drinks a bunch of soft drinks, maybe you have, dessert every time you eat, or whatever it is, it's like, hey, everybody gets that it tastes good. I mean, sugar is prevalent for many reasons. One of them is that it's addictive and it tastes good, right? So, everybody understands that, but you really need to just Google, just look up the negative effects of sugar and start looking into it a little bit, just because I think that makes it easier to not consume it. But it is something that is really throwing our bodies for a loop. Our bodies are not meant, our bodies can handle regular sugar, but they can't handle this refined sugar. We can't do it. And we're seeing a lot of issues from it. Let me see, make sure I think that's, but yeah, sorry, again, I'm trying to trying to do this right. But yeah, so that's all I want to talk about sugar today, is just, again, bring awareness to it and say, hey, stop eating it. Try your best to stop eating it. All right. Again, it's difficult, but it really is overloading our system. And I think they showed that, I think I have these numbers wrong, but however they get these numbers, they basically guesstimate that people eat, and I think this number's wrong, but it's like people eat like 130 pounds of sugar a year. It's like 130 or it's like 200. I can't remember the exact number, but people eat like 130 pounds of sugar a year. And what they found is that now we're eating like 20% more. We're eating like 160 or so pounds of sugar a year. So we are consuming more sugar, and more sugar is being spread out throughout all over the place because it also comes in different names. It comes in high fructose corn syrup. Again, refined carbs turns into sugar. That's bad. So it's all over, and I just think that people need to start kind of looking around and being like, hey, what's going on here? All right, what are the actual negative health effects from eating too much sugar? And that's something that helped me get away from eating sugar. I mean, real fast. I mean, that keeps me away from sugar for the most part. I mean, you can still like go throughout your life. You can eat fruits and vegetables, and if you want to have, occasionally, very rarely, if you want to have some like a little Debbie or something like that, you want to have a Twinkie, you want a nutty bar, something like that. I mean, live your life. Yeah, our bodies can handle that, but it's when you start having it, a couple times a day, several times a week, that's when it becomes an issue. And I think one of the ways to help you get away from it is to know how bad it actually is, right? To fully understand and know how bad it is. Because you'll think about that every time you're about to grab a little Debbie. And hey, sometimes you're going to be like, whatever, and you're going to eat the little Debbie. But I would say most of the time, if you're thinking about it, you'd be like, nah, there's something else I can go to, right? But yeah, so that's the nutritional, little tip of the week is, hey, start looking at sugar. Okay, start, just you're in line to go grab some food or whatever. I mean, we got the COVID now. Lines are all over the place. Everywhere has a line now. So just when you're in line, just Google sugar, negative effects, whatever you want to do, and start looking it up. And yeah, so that's the nutritional tip of the week. And next week, this whole entire episode is going to run much more smoothly than this one. Okay, I promise. Right? It's not going to be great, but it's still going to be better than what I'm doing today. All right, and then next I would usually go into what I want to go into is like a quote of the week. Not doing that this week, but the next thing I want to talk about is a fitness tip. Right? We're all trying to get fit. We're all trying to be, fitter than what we are. We're trying to lose. Some of us are trying to lose weight. So fitness tip seems like something to talk about, right? But the fitness tip of the week this week is breathing. Breathing is one of the biggest things that I have found for me and fitness, right? It's once I started focusing on my breathing technique and focusing when I'm breathing and how I'm breathing, I mean, everything just kind of it just opens up a lot more things. I feel less stress, right? And I feel less tension in my body from breathing. And that's something that I want to bring to the front of your minds. If you're somebody who's trying to lose weight, start focusing on your breath. All right. If you're somebody who's been working out for a while and you've only been you haven't been focusing on your breath, you've been mouth breathing this entire time, start focusing on your breath, and you're going to see some huge increases in many areas. And one of the things, if you're going to focus on your breath, first of all, you can do this anytime. You can do this right now while you're listening to this or watching this. You can do it while you're working. You can do it all day, right? It's something that you can, because you're always breathing, right? You just got to be aware of it. But what you need to start doing is to start breathing through your nose. Okay, this is one of the biggest things. One of the things that has been a lot of research has been coming out on the health benefits of breathing through our nose lately, and it's all showing positive. It's all showing that again, stress. There's a reduction of stress when you're doing it. You're more capable if you're breathing through your nose as well. You're getting more oxygen into your system in a more efficient way when you're breathing through your nose. And they've even shown that if you're, I can't remember if this is, oh, I got this quote. Also, I didn't even know this. The hairs in your nose kind of act like a filter or like an air purifier. So when you're breathing through your nose, you're kind of filtering the air. And that's pretty wild right there. Your mouth is not doing that. So you have this filter in your nose that you breathe through. So you're making sure that you're not getting bad air. So I think that's great. Um, but focus on this, okay? Focus on just breathing through your nose. And it could be hard. I believe it was like 2 years ago, something like that. I used to breathe through my nose all the time with running. That's all I ever did. And then it just kind of goes away. I stopped being as physically active. And then all of a sudden I just turned into like a mouth breather, right? And I didn't even really notice it until I was reading something or watching something. And they talked about breathing through your nose. I think I was like watching a interview with Laird Hamilton, who's a G, and he was talking about breathing through his nose. And I was like, oh, I don't breathe through my nose. And then I tried breathing through my nose, and I found out my nose was like closed. And it took a while. It took several weeks really to open up my nose. I mean, first of all, you got to change yourself to be conscious of breathing through your nose. So you got to go through, if you are somebody who wants to work on their breathing and breathing through your nose, it is hard to kind of remember, hey, breathe through your nose instead of breathing through your mouth if you've been breathing through your mouth for a while. So that's what happened to me. Started with a closed nose, and then just over time, over several weeks, even months, really, it started opening up, and I started solely breathing through my nose. Um, and it's a process, but through that process, I found that my cardio is much better. It's much easier to keep a rhythm. It's much easier to stay in the cardio session, breathing through my nose. It regulates it, I believe, for me just a little bit more. Um, I just found it to be great. It helps. I think it helps for myself calm my mind when I'm doing these things as well. Like when I'm on the assault bike, just going, breathing through my nose, just nice, calmly, just in and out through either my nose or my mouth. That helps me keep going, right? Instead of just, you know, breathing through my mouth. And when you're breathing through your mouth, you run out of breath a lot faster. It's got a bigger hole. And you would think that, oh, your mouth is so big, you get to take in all this oxygen, all this air. You should definitely be able to last longer because you're having more oxygen. It's not the case. It's the nose is a much better way to get air and oxygen into our system to fuel our muscles. And I've seen that completely. I've seen that change in myself just through breathing. Yeah, I would say fitness tip of the week is to focus on breathing. If you're in the gym and you're about to, let's say you're about to bench press or any workout, right? Bench press is the most common one. But if you're about to bench press, don't just throw on the weight and then sit down and lay down and then put up the weight, right? Take a couple minutes when you're putting on the weight. Start focusing on your breath right there. If you haven't been already, right? Make this kind of like a little trigger point to where once you walk up to the bench press and you're like, oh, I got to throw on some 45s or whatever. As you're doing that, once you grab the 45-pound plate, think to yourself, okay, now let me focus on my breath. Now close the mouth and breathe through the nose and do it slowly. And then put on the weight on the bar and sit down. And before you actually push up the weight, just take a couple seconds and just take a couple deep breaths in and out so your mind is focused on your breath, and then push up the weight and do the workout. And make sure to keep breathing while you're working out. Okay, keep breathing slowly. You shouldn't be holding your breath really. One indicator that you could have too much weight and that you're overstraining your system is you're forced to hold your breath. And they've actually shown that in this case, if you are pushing up weight, if you are working out and you're holding your breath, you can create a hernia. Right? Hernias aren't fun at all. And this is one area too where I definitely feel it. You feel this tightness, right? Like right in the abdomen region and in the lower back. I can't talk, in the and you have this tightness all around. And I felt this to where I wasn't focusing on my breath, right? I wasn't focusing on my breath. I was just going through the motions, just trying to push up some weight in my head a little bit, and felt this tightness. And once I felt the tightness, this happened many times, but this specific time, once I felt the tightness, I was like, oh, I need to focus on my breathing. I need to take some deep breaths. And just taking some deep, focused breathing breaths, that releases that tightness. And that helps for me and should help for you. And that helps me push up more weight and do more because it releases that tightness, and then it puts my mind focused on my breath, and that breathing continues while I'm working out, and I'm able to do more. So I would say the fitness tip of the week is to focus on the breathing. Right, breathe through the nose, and just be mindful of it. Right, this is something that many people just kind of dismiss. Right, because we just breathe all the time. It just naturally happens. You're going to breathe unless you're underwater, and you're still going to want to breathe. But it is something that, over time you might not see direct results right away. But if you close your mouth right now and you try to breathe through your nose and you can't do it, that means that you should start breathing through your nose. That means that there's an issue there. And there's also a book out, I think it's called Breathing, which gets a little bit too woo-woo for me, but they do got some good points in there. And there's a lot more benefits to breathing that I'm not talking about today because I didn't. My mind's too caught up in other stuff right now. But I'll get into that in another podcast. But check that book out. That'll get your mind kind of flipped around on this whole breathing thing. And again, this is all coming out. When I grew up, none of this was really around. Nobody talked about, hey, breathe through your nose, right? And somebody could tell you, hey, if you breathe through your nose, everything's gonna be great. But you just be like, what do you know? Like, what are you talking about? Like, we didn't even ask really for studies. You just don't really, you just go, okay, well, this person just believes this. I don't know where they got it from. Now it's like, hey, if you just look it up, you can find several studies that show the benefits to breathing. Again, there's that book out. And a lot of people are talking about, if you listen to elite athletes, if you listen to these people, breathing is a huge factor in a lot of what they do. All right. But yeah, that's the fitness tip of the week. Focus on the breathing. All right. This week is very simple. Okay. I just want just so you know, I'm just trying to see how this thing kind of configures together and see all the areas that I mess up in this podcast. And again, next week is going to be great. Now, the last segment, I gotta say my time is doing pretty good. The last segment that I wanted to talk about is the Fit Freak of the Week. I'm excited about the Fit Freak of the Week because I like freaks, okay? I consider myself in some regards a little bit of a freak. Again, I'm on my way up, right? I got still dealing with back issues, which is a bummer right now. It's weird. I trained, basically trained for surfing seriously for the past year and a half. I'm 31 years old right now, and a year and a half ago, I was like, all right, I need to get a lot better at surfing because I didn't grow up surfing. I need to get a lot more fluid and just be able to handle the water better and handle the explosivity that comes with surfing better, and the timing and just doing the whole thing, right? And so I've been training, basically just going surfing as much as I can, working on all these things because I feel like I'm getting older, I'm about to die, and I'm not going to have, I don't have too much time to really take advantage of my youth and get better. So I spent this whole year and a half getting ready, and then I have all these issues with my back, but it starts getting better, and then right now it gets up to, it's like 10 feet here in San Diego, and that's basically something that, San Diego doesn't get 10 feet too often. So this is something that I couldn't do before. Now I feel like I can go do it, but now, currently, right now, my back is tweaked a little bit, and going out there probably wouldn't be the smartest move because I'll more than likely injure myself and keep me out of surfing and working out for like at least 2 or 3 weeks. So it's a rough time for me right now with that. I don't know how I got into that, but that does kind of lead me in to the Fit Freak of the Week, which is none other than Nathan Florence. Now, if you don't know Nathan Florence, let me show you real quick. And if you're watching, it stopped recording. If you're watching this, I'm going to show you a video right now. All right, I'm recording. Something happened with the recording. But so this is Nathan Florence, and here's him going on huge waves. So this is what this guy does. He is a surfer, and he just gets swallowed up by this huge wave. And if you don't think, breathing and mental fitness and physical fitness don't play a role in this, you're crazy. If you just think that this guy is born like this or something, that he doesn't work at this, you're insane. And that is another distinction I want to make too. A fit freak is not somebody who can just push up 300 pounds. That to me is like, you're just a strong freak. You can just push up, 300 pounds isn't that much. If you can push up, 500, 600 pounds, yeah, that is freakish. That's crazy. But fit freak is somebody who is reasonably strong, right? A strong person, a fit person physically, but also mentally fit as well. And I think Nathan Florence kind of encapsulates all of that because of the things that he does on a consistent basis. I mean, he takes off on this wave, and he pulls in underneath this wave and just gets destroyed. I mean, if you're watching this, look at all of that whitewash. Look at all that water right there. That is, I mean, you can't even really, especially if you're not in the ocean that much, it's hard to kind of, conceptualize how much water that is and how insane it is. But it is absolutely insane to even take off on it, but then get eaten up by this. And it's just, I mean, right now, if you're watching this, you could see he has a GoPro attached to his surfboard, and he's taking off. And you just see him flying down this huge wave. I mean, looking up, I mean, it's a weird angle. You can't really see. I mean, it looks massive, but it's insane. So that's why he is the fit freak of the week, because he does this, right? He takes off on these waves, which again, just standing up on a surfboard, going for that wave, you don't really have to be fit for that. I mean, I would argue that you do and you should be. But, if you just have a crazy person who wants to take off on a huge wave, again, you don't really have to be fit for that. But what brings Nathan Florence into the fit freak of the week is the fact that he can take that beating, and you see him on the video just spewing out water, paddles out, and then goes and takes another wave. And that's being a fit freak. It's somebody who can, take a 20, 30-pound wave on the head and then not only go through that, but then go out there and try to catch some more waves. And having the endurance and cardio and mental capability to do that makes you a fit freak, to me at least. And you can even see him right here. So he does a lot of CrossFit training, right? So if you're watching this, you'll see that he's going to do this workout where he's basically running and swimming, doing some lunges, and just doing more running, swimming, squats, swimming again. He's doing this whole entire HIIT training exercise right now. And again, what makes him a fit freak is that he sets this whole thing up, and he actually smoke checks everybody. So I think it's somewhere around here. You could see he beats, yeah. This is him just finishing it off. And I think those are like 50 pounds that he's doing. And he smoke checks all these dudes. I mean, he's doing this with like, yeah, five or so people. And he smoke checks them. And that makes you a fit freak of the week to me. And so I just wanted to highlight that. If you're somebody who just wants to push yourself, right? If you're looking to see, oh, what can our bodies do? Well, look to Nathan Florence. If you go on Instagram, you'll see him surfing a bunch, but this dude's insane, right? For him to be able to take those waves on the head, and still go out there and paddle. I mean, he knows this is why he's doing this training right here. Why he's doing this like CrossFit exercise. And he does it a lot, is because to be able to do that, you need to push yourself on the land. You need to train hard, and you need to kind of recreate that exhaustion, and that mental fatigue that I'm sure comes with taking a 20 to 30 foot wave on the head. And then one last clip or video is him just squatting. I mean, it's nothing crazy. You know, I'm not sure how much he's squatting right there. I believe over 250 maybe. But this is a surfer, right? Squatting a pretty decent amount of weight. And that's something that's happening a lot with surfers nowadays, is they're realizing, hey, to be able to paddle out a bunch and catch these bigger waves and not just catch one wave and go in, is you need to be physically fit to do that. And Nathan Florence is kind of leading the pack with that. And that's why he's a fit freak of the week for the first time ever doing the fitness freak of the week. Mainly because I'm a surfer. I like him. And yeah, that's wild is to be able to do this. And he does, you can go on his YouTube channel, Nathan Florence, and you can see him catch some waves. You can see him do workouts. And he breaks some things down for people as well. So if you're looking for a source that's different, you know, source of information on fitness or, you know, pushing yourself or whatever, he is a great source for that. And I would say check him out because he is a fit freak. He's one of the probably fittest ones on, or not on the tour, but fittest ones surfing. So yeah, that's a fitness freak of the week is Nathan Florence. Check him out. And that's the podcast, right? This is very, you know, it's very weird. I knew it was going to be weird, you know, trying to fit in all these segments. And I'm sorry if it comes off a little off today, a little weird today, but there's just a lot of moving parts. I'm trying to make sure that I do it. I'm a one-man show, all right? So it's a little difficult, but, you know, iterations will be better. So next week should be better, and I'll have a new ST regular for next week, and I'll have a new fit freak of the week, have new nutrition tips, fitness tips, and I'll end it off next week doing the full segments I want to do, and I'll end it off with a nice little touch of the mind for you, like a nice little insight into the mind. And yeah, let me know down below what you think. Actually, don't let me know what you think of this episode, because I already know I don't like. I mean, it's just, you know, it was a little clunky this episode, but yeah, next week will be good. Next week I think it'll be after the first. We'll be in 2021. Isn't it wild? It's like this year it's been a slow, fast year, right? Like being in the lockdowns was slow, but somehow this year felt like it went by so quick, especially looking back on December 29th, 30th. I mean, feels like it went by very fast. Weird year. Obviously, we all know it's a weird year. And maybe some of you out there are doing your New Year's resolutions now and you came across my channel. Hey, good luck to everybody out there who's trying to lose some weight. Again, if you're looking for some inspiration, if you're looking for some motivation or something different, again, check out the Watch Kitty Shrink on Instagram, right? The ST Ruggler of the week. And then check out Nathan Florence, the Fit Freak of the week. And definitely get some good insight from following both of those accounts. And also stay away from sugar. Watch that sugar and breathe through the nose. All right. That's this week's episode. Hope everybody has a good day, good new year, party it up, and hopefully you don't have too bad of a hangover on the first. All right, but other than that, have a good one.